My sister Natalie's engagement party was everything she dreamed of: elegant venue, imported champagne, a guest list full of corporate executives and successful professionals. She'd made sure everyone knew she was marrying Jonathan Pierce, a senior VP at a major investment bank. "Aya, you came," Mom said, sounding surprised as I walked in. "We weren't sure you'd make it. Don't you have some online thing you're working on?" "I wouldn't miss Natalie's party," I said, hugging her. Dad appeared beside us, champagne in hand. "How's the little craft business going? Still selling those digital things on the internet?" "It's going well," I replied simply. "My app just reached 10 million users." He patted my shoulder dismissively. "That's nice, honey. Natalie, come tell everyone about Jonathan's promotion." I was 27 years old. 5 years ago, I'd quit my corporate marketing job to build a mobile app. NutriFit wasn't just another fitness tracker. It used AI to create personalized meal plans based on users' health data, dietary restrictions, and fitness goals. The technology was groundbreaking. The growth had been explosive. But to my family, I played with apps, while Natalie had a real career in pharmaceutical sales. "Why, you actually showed up." Natalie swept over in her designer dress, Jonathan trailing behind. "Everyone, this is my little sister. She does something with phone apps. It's very creative. Mobile health technology," I corrected gently. "AI-driven nutrition platforms." "Right, that," Natalie said, already losing interest. She turned to a group of guests. "Jonathan just closed a $50 million deal. Tell them about the merger, honey." I found my way to a corner table where my aunt, uncle, and cousins had gathered. The interrogation began immediately. "Still working from home?" Aunt Carol asked, her tone pitying. "Have you thought about getting a stable job? With benefits?" "I have a company," I said. 35 employees, offices in 2 cities. Uncle Frank laughed. "Employees? You mean those gig workers who answer customer emails?" "No, I mean full-time salaried software engineers, data scientists, nutritionists, and business operations staff." "Well, that's ambitious," Aunt Carol said in that tone that meant she didn't believe me. "But Natalie's done so well with real corporate experience. 6-figure salary, company car, expense account. That's security." What they didn't know, what nobody in this room knew except my lawyer and accountant, was that 3 months ago I'd received a call from Goldman Sachs. NutriFit had caught the attention of major investors. The numbers were staggering. The user growth was unprecedented. The revenue projections were astronomical. They wanted to take my company public. Tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m., NutriFit would begin trading on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker NTF. My 60% ownership stake would be worth approximately $840 million at the projected opening price. By noon, my face would be on financial news networks. By evening, the story would hit mainstream media. But tonight, I was still just Maya who played with apps. "Maya, we need to talk," Dad said, pulling me aside. "Your mother and I have been discussing your situation. We're worried about your future. This app thing is fine as a hobby, but you need stability. Jonathan's firm is hiring for their marketing department. We asked him to put in a word for you." My jaw nearly dropped. "You asked Jonathan to get me a job?" "It's a good opportunity," Mom joined in. "Entry level, but it's a foot in the door. You could work your way up like Natalie did." "I don't need Jonathan to get me a job," I said carefully. "I have a company." "Sweetheart, be realistic," Dad said. "How long can you sustain this? What's your actual income? Do you have retirement savings? Health insurance?" "I have all of those things," I replied. "Look, we know you want to be independent," Mom said gently. "But at some point you need to face facts. Natalie's about to buy a house in Westchester. She has career stability. What do you have? An app that could disappear tomorrow." I checked my watch. 8:15 p.m. 15 hours until market open. Natalie clinked her glass, calling for attention. The room quieted as she and Jonathan stood at the front. "Thank you all for coming to celebrate with us," Natalie began. "Jonathan and I are so grateful to be surrounded by such successful, accomplished people. People who understand what it takes to build a real career in the real world." Her eyes found mine across the room. The emphasis on real wasn't accidental. "We wanted to share some exciting news," Jonathan continued. Not only are we getting married, but I've just been promoted to managing director. At 32, I'm one of the youngest MDs in the firm's history. Applause erupted. Dad beamed with pride. Mom wiped happy tears. And Natalie, Jonathan continued, putting his arm around her, has been offered a director position at her company. Together we're looking at a combined income of over $400,000 a year. More applause. Natalie glowed. We're proof that hard work and traditional career paths still matter, she said, and I swear she looked right at me. That real jobs and real ambition lead to real success. The message was clear. She'd won. She was the successful one. I was the cautionary tale. After the speeches, cousins and family friends surrounded Natalie and Jonathan, congratulating them, networking, making business connections. I stood at the periphery, invisible as always. It must be hard, a voice said beside me. I turned to find Jonathan's colleague, Richard Chin, one of the guests I'd been introduced to earlier. Being compared to your sister. I'm used to it, I said. For what it's worth, I looked up your app, Richard said quietly. NutriFit. My wife uses it. He loves it. The personalization is incredible. Thank you, I said, genuinely pleased. I also saw something interesting, he continued, his voice lower. Goldman filed an S-1 3 months ago for a mobile health company. The numbers were redacted, but the description matches NutriFit exactly. I met his eyes. He was sharper than I'd given him credit for. If I'm right, Richard said carefully, tomorrow is going to be very interesting. It might be, I acknowledged. Does your family know? No. Why not tell them? Because, I said simply, I tried for 5 years to tell them about my company. They never listened. They never asked. They decided what my success should look like, and when it didn't match their definition, they dismissed it. I'm done trying to convince them. Richard nodded slowly. Fair enough. Well, congratulations. If my math is right based on typical IPO valuations in your sector, you're about to have a very good day. Thank you. He walked away and I checked my watch again. 9 p.m. 12.5 hours. The party continued. Natalie held court, discussing wedding plans and house hunting. Jonathan networked aggressively, handing out business cards. My parents introduced them to everyone as our successful daughter and her brilliant fiancé. Nobody introduced me as anything. Around 10 p.m. I said my goodbyes. Mom hugged me with that pitying expression I'd seen 1,000 times. Think about what your father said, she whispered. About the job opportunity. It's not too late to build a real career. I'll think about it, I lied. I drove home to my apartment. Not a penthouse, just a comfortable 2-bedroom in a decent neighborhood. I'd always been careful with money, reinvesting profits into the company rather than flashy displays of wealth. My family saw this as proof of my limited success rather than what it was: strategic business planning. My phone buzzed with a message from my CFO, David. All systems go for tomorrow. Press release is ready. Trading desk confirmed. Your life's about to change. Get some sleep. I tried. I really did. But at 6 a.m. I gave up and went for a run. By 8 a.m. I was in my lawyer's office in Manhattan. By 9 a.m. I was standing on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange waiting. 9:30 a.m. The opening bell rang. NutriFit began trading at $28 per share. Within minutes it hit $32. By 10 a.m. it was at $35. My phone exploded with notifications, news alerts, interview requests, congratulations from investors and colleagues. By 10:30 a.m. my face was on CNBC. By 11 a.m., Bloomberg was running a feature story. By noon the stock had stabilized at $38 per share, putting my net worth at just over $1 billion. At 12:30 p.m. while I was doing my third television interview of the day, my phone started ringing with family calls. I ignored them. I had more important things to do. The media loved the story. 27-year-old female founder takes health tech company public. From bedroom startup to billion-dollar business. NutriFit IPO creates youngest female billionaire in tech. By 3 p.m. when I finally checked my messages, I had 62 texts and 41 missed calls from family members. Mom, Maya, we're seeing your name on the news. Please call us. Dad, is this real? Call me immediately. Natalie, you need to explain what's happening. People are calling me about you. Aunt Carol, Why didn't you tell us? I responded to none of them. Instead, I did 6 more interviews, a photo shoot for Forbes, and a strategy meeting with my executive team about our post-IPO expansion plans. At 6 p.m., I finally returned to my apartment. The doorman handed me a stack of flower deliveries, from investors, from colleagues, from business partners. Not one from my family. My phone rang again. Natalie. I answered this time. Why? Oh my God, I've been trying to reach you all day. Is it true? Are you really a billionaire? I finished. Yes, Natalie. It's true. NutriFit went public this morning. The IPO was successful. My ownership stake is currently valued at approximately $1.1 billion. Silence. Then, why didn't you tell us? I tried to tell you, I said calmly. For 5 years I tried to explain my company. Nobody wanted to listen. Last night at your party, Dad offered to have Jonathan get me an entry-level marketing job because you all assumed I was unsuccessful. We didn't know. You never asked, I said. You never cared about my revenue, my users, my growth, or my team. You just thought my success wasn't real because it didn't look like yours. Vaya, that's not fair. Natalie, congrats on your engagement and promotion. I mean that. But my hobby just made me one of the youngest billionaires in the country. My little app helps 10 million people every day. My not real business employs 35 people with good pay and benefits. None of that changed today. The only difference is now people finally see it. Silence. Then she whispered, I'm sorry. I know, I said. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done needing your approval. She cried and asked if we could have lunch soon. I'd like that, I said, and I meant it. Then Mom and Dad called. Dad's voice cracked as he apologized. Mom cried. We're so proud of you, Dad said. We always have been. We just didn't understand. I know, I said softly. But I needed your belief when I was scared, not your pride now that I'm on TV. You're right, Dad said. Can we make it up to you? Start by asking about my work, I said. Not because it's big now, but because you care. Calls kept coming. Old friends, cousins, former coworkers. At 10 p.m., Natalie showed up at my door, eyes red. I couldn't just call. I was awful to you. I'm sorry. I hugged her. Come in. Let's talk. We stayed up until 2 a.m. She asked real questions and listened. We talked about family, comparison, and understanding. Before leaving, she said, Jonathan's colleague told him about your IPO. He was speechless. I laughed. He's impressive too. We just shine differently. She smiled. I see that now. I just wish I'd known sooner. The next weeks were a blur. Media meetings, interviews. My face was everywhere. But the best part? My family was learning. Mom visited my office. Dad asked smart questions at an event. Natalie became my biggest supporter. At Sunday dinner, Dad smiled. Tell us about the expansion plans. Finally, they were asking the right questions. My hobby had reached Times Square. My little app changed lives. My not real business built a legacy. But the true success was this. Sitting with family who finally saw me, who listened and who understood. They'd laughed before. Now they knew the truth. Success isn't what others see. It's what you build for yourself.